Welcome back to the show. So in this part, we're going to take a look at our London clubs a bit further down the leagues. We'll start with the Championship, and we'll start with Millwall, who picked up 3 points from a possible 6. They're still in the relegation zone, but they're there just on goal difference, and it was a good away win at Birmingham, where they've won 1-0. A good performance from them away from home. Can't win at home though. We've discussed this before. They lost 3-1 to Huddersfield last weekend, followed it up with an away win.
Well, the thing is, Rob, we're gonna get one of our callers in. Maybe he could explain it to me, because I just think it's just kamikaze. There's a complete lack of consistency between both their home form and their away form. In terms of, again, the personnel as well. I don't think Holloway's settled on actual defence. He doesn't know who to play with Dunn. Sometimes it's Shitu, sometimes it's Gregory. I'm confused. And now they've brought back Meyerhofer, but up front, because they're not getting the goals. So, sometimes Gay gets goals. It's like they confuse me. Maybe
Fuller's perhaps not scoring enough as well.
He's only got 4 goals this season.
It is a definite problem for them.
Yeah, and Gay, like I said, his last time I remember him scoring was against Ipswich, when they lost again at home, 3-1, and then they lose against Huddersfield, who are a mid-table side. Although Chris Powell's doing a very good job. It's one of those games where Millwall should really be looking to pick some points up there.
So, do you think that 3 points from possible 6 is they can't look at that too positively? Should they have taken more? Because Birmingham, they're not. I don't think they've won for a month now, it's not.
Well, they were in good form before Birmingham. They were in fantastic form before Christmas, when they're reacting to a new manager. Rowett's come in.
But then they haven't won since January the 10th now, so it has been over a month since they've last won a game. So perhaps it wasn't too unexpected that Millwall went there and won.
Well, to say it is, isn't it? Because you look at their home form, you think, what's going on here? They're away from home. They win at Nottingham Forest. They get a point against Bournemouth. They won on Tuesday. It's like, I don't understand what's going on. So in terms of that, again, they've made some, like got a couple of players on. They've got Michael Tong from Leeds, and they got Jordan Archer from Spurs on loan to give Matt Ford some help and competition. But it's very confusing to make out with all. That's why we need, hopefully our caller would.
Well, we are hoping to get a Millwall fan on the phone, but unfortunately I think they're having a few problems getting hold of him. So what we'll do is we'll move on and we'll come back to our Millwall talk. So we'll go on now to Watford. 2 massive wins for Watford. They beat Blackburn 1-0 last weekend, then they went to Brentford and won 2-1, which was a massive 6 points. It's put them 5th, it's put them above Brentford, and they're well within a shout of the 2 automatic spots.
Well, I think what's happened with Watford, I think Jankanovic, he's managed to get goals from Igalo, and he's playing very well, and also Troy Deeney's prominent figure as well. I think what's happening is now his strikers are in form, and he's got Gomez in goal, who's in stellar form as well, and he's got a settled defence. And I think that's the thing with Watford now, is that in the business end of the season, we see this a lot from Watford, where they always there and thereabouts in the playoffs, and I think in terms of Watford's 2 games, I call them 6-pointers. I really do call them 6 points, because Blackburn are playing very well under Bowyer. He's like I said, they're doing really well. Like I said, they've got very good home form. They've got some good results away from home. Obviously, Jordan Rose's goals have dried up, and now they've got a guy called Gazzetta who's scoring the goals. So that was a big win for Watford at home. But the Brentford game, again, there was loads of situations where Brentford were the better side, but Bidwell gets himself sent off early on with a 2-footed tackle, and Watford just capitalise, and that's one of the reasons why, on form, you've got to look at Watford and be very surprised if they don't make it in the playoffs.
I think they'll definitely at least get the playoffs.
I think they will, definitely.
At least, and I think they will push for the top 2.
Again, basically, I think if he can keep Igalo scoring and Deeney chips for a few goals, I think what Watford need to do, and this goes for Brentford, we'll talk about it later, you need to win the 6-pointers against the top sides.
So let's talk a little bit about Brentford now. Obviously, they lost midweek to Watford. They lost at home 2-1. They went to Leeds and they won 1-0. So that was a decent 3 points, but Leeds are down near the bottom. You would expect Brentford's the way they've been playing and their performances, you would expect them to take the 3 points there.
Brentford have got very good away form, and the reason why they've got very good away form is they're a very attacking team. It's like Andre Gray's got bags of pace. He scored a very good finish on Tuesday against Watford, the roof of the net. Got bags of pace. You got Pritchard who's playing very well. You got Douglas who's chipping with you guys. You got Horta. You got Terrell. You know, you've got loads of good players.
Now, obviously, with the chairman announcing that Warburton may not have a job come the summer, regardless of whether they go to the Premier League or not, that's going to disrupt them now. Now they've dropped to 6th. Yeah. They've lost a game. Is this going to be the start of the fall of Brentford?
I wouldn't say so, because I think what's happening is that they've got so many good players. They're playing so well that I think this is going to be a blip. They react very well for disappointment. For instance, they lost to Ipswich on Boxing Day. They reacted very well. Also, they went out of the cup. But in terms of the league, they go to a place like Carrow Road and they go and get a win. So, and then they go to Leeds after losing against Middlesbrough and they go and win a win. So Brentford are very good at picking up points after defeat. They're not like certain clubs like defeats playing their minds. They're very good because they've got so many good attacking players who are actually playing well. And I think what helps with Brentford is that when they lose, they're actually playing well. And that's one of the reasons why I think that they're going to be thereabouts as well.
Okay, good stuff. So we'll go on now to Charlton. Now, Kenny, what is going on with Charlton?
Well,
they haven't won a game since November. They've only won 6 matches all season.
I don't know.
And their results, I think they're on 15 draws now. 15 draws. But their results, they went to Middlesbrough and lost 3-1. Now, perhaps that's to be expected. Yeah. Borough in fine form. But they followed that up. They lost 3-2 at home to Norwich, who, again, Norwich are 7th. They're no pushovers. But it's your home games that you need to win to stay in the league. They just haven't won for months now, and they're in serious danger of falling out of this league. So, what's happening, Ken?
Well, if I look at Charlton, they were with Fulham in the beginning of the season, where Fulham couldn't win a game, and Fulham kind of pick up and improved, and Charlton was the ones who were like the leading lights. But I think with Charlton is that when we first did this show, Charlton were ninth for the table.
And they've slowly dropped. I don't think they've won a game since we've done this show.
Not at all. And like they're ninth for the table, and they're only about 5 points to the playoffs.
They're now sitting 20th, and I think it's unbelievable. It's 2 points above the drop now.
It's not unbelievable. And if you look at the situation again, it was a very spirited performance to actually get the comeback against Norwich. They were 2-0 down, and then then they actually get it to 2-2, and they play very well. But in the last minutes, when you need to concentrate, up post Cameron Jerome scores a very good goal. Norwich, although Norwich are winning 2-0, they've actually nicked it in the end. And I think it's about concentration. It's like they've got
confidence as well.
Oh,
confidence is a big thing, and Charlton have none at the moment.
Oh, confidence is at absolute low there. They've already set their manager. They've got a new manager, Guzon from like Israeli manager as well. And he's trying to get them very organised, but what he can't do is get a win out of them. You look at it, they get a couple of wins, they're back up the table.
So, well, they do sit 20th, 3 points above the drop. So, finally in the Championship, we'll talk about Fulham. Now, they drew 1-1 at home to Birmingham last weekend and followed it up with a 3-1 defeat at Bolton. Now, we don't need to dwell too much on Fulham, but they are now just 5 points above the relegation zone. It's getting slightly worrying. I was at the game against Birmingham last week, and I have to say Birmingham, who haven't won for over a month, completely played Fulham off the park, and I think Fulham were lucky to take a point from that game. And then going to Bolton, they've taken the lead and just thrown it away, and they allowed Bolton to get in just before half-time, perfect time for Johnson to equalise, and Fulham just didn't seem to come out for the second half.
Again, it's all about consistency as well, because again, you look at the Fulham team from last season to this team, it's completely different. It's like you still got Scott Parker there. He's very much a leader of men, and you've got players like Bessinelli's in goal who's come back, and you got. But if you look at the situation, you're still relying very heavily on Rodriguez for goals. If Rodriguez don't score your goals, where's the goals come from?
Well, the problem is where do they play McCormack? Because sometimes he's playing out wide. He seems to be better when he comes into the middle, but They seem to be adamant that they want to play him out wide. They're trying their younger players, Cauley Woodrow, who I don't think scoring enough goals and misses too many chances.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Moussa Dembele just hasn't seemed to hit the ground running at all.
Not at all.
And our other striker, Matt Smith, I think we loaned him out to Bristol City and he's scoring for fun.
Well, again, you say he's scoring for fun, but yeah, don't buy into that because players have levels. It's like, if we change the subject immediately, everyone's slagging off.
But we're talking about Matt Smith, a player that last season did play in the Championship and played for Leeds and formed a formidable partnership with Ross McCormack. So could that not work again at Fulham?
Well,
could you not consider?
It's too late for that.
Obviously he didn't recall him. He had the chance to bring him back from loan, but he chose not to. And I think Fulham are going to suffer for it.
You bring Matt Smith on loan, you leave out Rodiega, who's still scoring important goals for you. His goals just dried up a little bit, but he still gets the goals. I still think in midfield, you're relying too much on that Christensen guy. And if he doesn't play well, or he doesn't play, where is the creativity? I don't see the creativity.
Well, Brian Ruiz was supposed to have gone on loan to Levante, but apparently the loan deal's fallen through. So we do have Brian Ruiz, who should play a few more games between now and him leaving at the end of the season.
Oh, absolutely. But then again, Brian Ruiz, again, is not a championship player. He's not going to roll his sleeves up. He's not going to roll his socks down and get stuck in. He's not going to influence games. I mean, the only time I saw Brian Ruiz play well was for his country in the World Cup.
I'm inclined to agree with that completely. So we'll move on now to League One. Now, Leyton Orient's game away to Rochdale last weekend was actually postponed due to a frozen pitch. They followed it up with a 1-0 home defeat to Notts County. Now, that leaves Leyton Orient rock bottom of League One. And they do have 2 games in hand, but they are bottom by 1 point. Kenny, what is going on at Leyton Orient? This is a team that pushed for promotion last year. They're now rock bottom, and the way they're playing, they are going to fall out this league.
Oh, absolutely.